Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words. Today we are playing some Premodern at the request of a donor. We have explored the land space before, but we're going back in to try something a little bit different. We are trying a more prison-y style approach. We've got some Sphere of Resistance here to try and lock our opponents out of casting multiple spells. So this is absolutely savage for a lot of the blue decks that are trying to play 0 and 1 mana spells. But while we're doing this, we're also going to be pressuring our opponent with our Treetop Village and Mishra's Factory, and then pressuring their lands with Wasteland and Rishadan Port. And if our opponent's trying to play a bunch of creatures, well, we're going to pressure that too by having Oath of Druids. So whatever creatures they're playing in the early turns of the game are not going to be as good as what we get off of Oath of Druids, which is Phantom Nishoba. We have 3 of them, so we can just keep getting these out and smashing our opponent down. And we're never going to deck because we'll eventually put these guys' blessings in, shuffle them all in, and we can just keep the parade of Phantom Nishobas coming. So that's basically what we're doing with this, but if our opponent doesn't have any creatures, well, we have this card called Funeral Pyre. This is white, exile target card from a graveyard. Its owner creates a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. So this allows us to give our opponent a creature, which then turns on our Oath of Druids and gets our win condition, our best win condition. Aside from that, we've just got some good Magic the Gathering cards, so some Mox Diamonds to help power things out slightly earlier, like the turn 1 Sphere. We've got Swords to Plowshares to kill creatures. We've got Seal of Cleansing to blow up annoying things like Sarbo's Web and such. And that's pretty much it. Sideboard wise, we've got these Decree of Justice when we need to cycle these against control decks so we can have a threat that is uncounterable. We've got some Wrath of Gods just to give us a little bit more insurance against creature decks. Aura of Silence, Naturalize, and Rare Revelation to get rid of some pesky permanents that might be causing us trouble. Sacred Ground to try and fight against Armageddons, and then a little bit more Graveyard Hate to complement our Funeral Pyres in these Tormod Crypts. That's what we're playing today. I know you might have been expecting to see a Legacy video today, but if a donor's going to give me money to play a deck in one of the formats I like, you can be sure that I'm going to do it. If you want to see specific decks and specific formats, get in touch with me and become a donor, and then you can see what you want on the channel. Otherwise, sit back, relax, enjoy, like, subscribe, all those things, and let's start jamming some prisony lands. If you are looking to buy some Magic cards, not only does 3for1 Trading have a wonderful online store linked in the description of this video, but they will also have booths at upcoming events. MagicCon Atlanta from the 26th to 28th of September, Eternal Weekend Pittsburgh from the 9th to the 12th of October, and Spiel 25 in Essen from the 23rd to the 26th of October. Whether you're looking to sell off cards you don't need or add more to your collection, 3for1 Trading has got you covered. Alright, our opener isn't the most exciting thing really, is it? We're kind of just not able to cast this. This is kind of blank. I think we should just mulligan. The best cards in our deck. I'll keep this hand. I think we can probably just get rid of one of these Windswept Heaths. I think we go and get a Forest here. Just playing around Stifle. It's kind of free for us to do so. A Swamp. A Dark Ritual. Doughty Slayer. Don't duress me though. Sarcomancy. Alright, we probably win this game because we cast Oath of Druids next turn. I have mixed feelings about Oath of Druids existing, because it does feel just like a big you win the game for not doing very much sort of card. We're going to take some damage from his Doughty Slayer and a zombie. It's fine. We trigger the Oath of Druids. We mill ourselves a bunch. The guy's Blessing shuffles in. We draw for turn. We have a Wasteland that doesn't really do anything here. We can play this Kor Haven and prevent damage. That seems pretty good. We could also play the Sphere of Resistance here. Alright, our opponent scooped the game, sorry. Alright, a creature deck. I would like the creature removal that we've established as something that we might want. They're not going to be able to remove our stuff, so I don't think we need to worry about these other bits and pieces. We probably don't need Funeral Pyres very much, because our opponent's not going to be holding back to not put creatures into play. So I think that's a pretty easy 2-for-2 swap. I don't think we need these sorts of things. I don't mind having a couple of Seal of Cleansing in here. Maybe we'll swap 1 Seal for 1 Naturalize, just so we can't get Cabal Therapied as easily. They're pretty low mana, so Sphere Resistance is good. Do I want to have another Naturalize effect? Or we can have the Seal of Cleansing, just in case our opponent's got some like contamination style effect or whatever. Just a nice catch-all when we don't need the Funeral Pyre. Sure. Our opening hand has an Oath of Druids in it that we can play on turn 1. Our opponent duresses us, takes the Oath of Druids. We still got Wrath of God for a few turns' time. Our opponent's mulligan to 4. They are desperately looking for the duress because they just can't beat Oath of Druids without it in a black deck. Which is part of the reason I'm not a big fan of Oath of Druids being legal in Premodern. Like, it might be fine, to be honest, but it is just such a big, you don't get to play the game sort of card. So they take our Oath, but how are they going to win? They've mulliganed a lot to find these things. I will deploy a Forest. I don't think we have any need to deploy a Mox Diamond just yet. I don't really like having triple Mox Diamond. Carnophage, sure. They know we have a Wrath of God that we can pop in a couple of turns. A Mishra's Factory, I will certainly play that one out. Next time we might be able to Wrath if we want to because of the Mox Diamond. These can also help us versus Armageddon decks a little bit. There's a Wasteland. Sure, that's pretty good. But we're not taking a lot of damage here. Might be a while before we can hardcast this Nishoba. Alright. Our opponent probably just scoops to this. We've got the 8th. So they should probably just play a bunch more stuff. Just try and get over the line, maybe having removal spells for our guy. Dark Ritual. It's going to be a 4-drop. Dystopia. Yeah, that's pretty good. But our opponent's spending like multiple resources to get these things going. Now we are kind of left here with this Mox Diamond that's a little bit stinky. So we do get to trigger the Oath once. This will shuffle us back in, including the Oath. So our opponent doesn't get to attack for a turn. Do I like this Rishadan Port? I think I prefer the Mox Diamond to Rishadan Port here. Because our opponent's got Wasteland, we just want to make sure we can get to 4 mana and cast his Wrath of God. So our opponent's fighting the good fight, using this Dystopia to blow up our things. This will make us lose our Phantom Nishoba, but they can't attack us this turn, so this is just going to be tapped, I would imagine. No, they're leaving it untapped. We want to attack into our lifelink guy. Although it's not technically lifelink, it's got a life gain trigger. Yeah, so they pay 1 life they didn't have to there. So the Dystopia will hit, we'll lose our Phantom Nishoba. A Rishadan Port. And we can keep our opponent off of 3 mana. Is that interesting enough to me? I don't want this to get Wastelanded. And take us off a Wrath of God. Alright, I think we're just going to play this and pass. We don't necessarily need to deal with the Carnophage just yet. Alright, just a swamp. Oh, we're on the same life totals here. Obviously we're about to lose 2 more, but we're not under anything that I would describe as a great amount of pressure. Alright, we just draw another Oath of the Druids. They need another Dystopia right now. Alright, they're conceding the game. Oath of Druids is a messed up card. On to round 2. Okay, our hand here is alright. We have a turn 2 Oath of Druids, which can possibly win us the game on its own. We've got a little bit of action with Dustbowl Wasteland to mess with their mana. The format is slow enough that we've got time to get into this game. I don't really like having the Nishoba in hand, but what can you do? Ancient Tomb, Winter Orb. Alright. I could just Wasteland my opponent right now. I think I'm just going to play this Treetop Village though. This is where they immediately play Starbow's Web as well. And then things get a little bit trickier. I would like to get an Oath of Druids down. Our opponent could just be full on Prison. Like the blue-red Prison-y style deck. Alright, we have a Sphere of Resistance. So we're both just going to be windmilling Spheres of Resistance at one another. I see. I guess we can play this tap. We do get to untap 1 land a turn, so that'll do. And then next turn we can try the Oath of Druids. And then we don't really have to worry about that much. Now they can prison us out and mess us around a bit, but they're unlikely to be able to remove Oath of Druids once it's in. And then at some point we can just Funeral Pyre and then start bashing with our Nishoba. Now they might have Ensnaring Bridge, so we're going to have to dig deep and find our Seal of Cleansing, but we can recycle our deck numerous times. The Winter Orb makes me think our opponent is properly Prison and not the combo Prison deck with the Devourer. Now they probably have 1 copy of each half of that combo they can shoot it for in certain situations. There is a non-zero part of me that wants to just Wasteland our opponent's colour source here. Get out of here, Gemstone Mine. We don't really get to cast anything this turn, but that's fine. We've taken our opponent's coloured mana source that also is the mana that doesn't hurt them. City of Traitors. Sure. Have we got a 6-drop? Well, I guess it has to be a 5-drop because of their own sphere. If we play something like a Khan, that's probably quite good for us. Ensnaring Bridge. Sure. I've got 3 cards in hand, so we could just try and get in a little bit of damage with this Treetop Village right now. Or we could just get our Oath of Druids in so we don't draw any more of our creatures. I think I'm going to play the Windswept Heath, pull out our Plains. We're going to deploy this because I don't believe our opponent's going to really have ways of removing it. So This is going to threaten our opponent in an interesting way, because if they play out like a welder or something, then all of a sudden we get a big guy, and if we have an answer to the Ensnaring Bridge, they're in a lot of trouble because their life total is already under pressure from their own lands. And now we're just going to slowly do our thing here. Maybe actually play the Sphere of Resistance and just try and Dust Bowl our opponent out so they can't play the cards in their hand. And at some point we can Funeral Pyre, get our creature to win the game with. Interesting. These ends of the battlefield tap lands are a little bit awkward underneath this Winter Orb. I do like that dedicated prison decks exist in Premodern, because they don't really exist in many other places. You've got Stasis, you've got like the Mud Prison deck. We're not really a full prison deck, to be fair. But, you know, you can actually build different archetypes quite nicely in this format, and there's enough room to breathe to actually let them do their thing. An untap there. Nothing else? I will untap my planes, please. I'll deploy a Dust Bowl and pass. So next turn we can make a Sphere of Resistance if we want to, because they have to sacrifice their City of Traitors at some point. Now, if they've got a Croesus' Catacombs, they can bounce this, so they don't have to lose it. A Tangle Wire. Sure. There's the Croesus' Catacombs doing the exact play that I just mentioned. I think we're going to get the Phantom Nishoba out of our deck. That does give us our opponent a 1/1 that can attack through their Ensnaring Bridge. It gives us more permanents to tap down, but I don't think that matters because it's still going to get everything, and the Winter Orb is kind of the problem there. So maybe we're not doing that. Right, choose which land to untap and then tap them all. A Mox Diamond, that's kind of interesting, isn't it? We can't play it yet because of the Sphere of Resistance over there. It is a little bit awkward that we drew our 4 come into play tap lands. Yep, so that's just a one-sided Tangle Wire because these permanents still work when they're tapped. So now they've got a lot of mana, they can play through their own sphere quite easily. Blue mana, is this just going to be a Tinker? No, it's a Mind Stone. I guess Tinker, they needed another one because of the sphere. Another Mox Diamond. I want to keep these Mox Diamonds because I want to be able to play around Mishra's Helix, which is a thing that taps your lands down. For some reason my Dust Bowl is still highlighted. It's going to be a little while before we get to put anything in play. Very much the polar opposite of the previous game. It took a long time. This one is going to be... sorry, it took a short time. This one is going to be the one that takes forever. Altar of Dimension. Maybe it's not going to take forever. This doesn't kill us though because we have Gaia's Blessing. So, right, Dust Bowl, you can get untapped. And then you can get tapped. Rishadan Port. Quite like the Rishadan Port. I will play this one out. And then I will cast this Mox Diamond. And I will pitch this Treetop Village. So if they Phyrexian Devourer combo us, we do just shuffle our graveyard in. Now they should be aware that that's the thing that's likely to happen. Because that's usually what Oath of Druids means. This Funeral Pyre might come in handy versus Goblin Welder shenanigans at some point as well. There is a Goblin Welder, so we're going to get our Oath of Druids to pop off. So we have to tap one permanent here. I was thinking we untap our Rishadan Port and then we port them. Untap the Rishadan Port. We'll get our Oath working. Am I going to port them right now? It takes us further away from having mana next turn. I think we're just going to tap the port here. We draw for turn. Gaia's Blessing. Guess where we don't want this card? Our hand. We don't get to play anything else out here. So the Tangle Wire doesn't die this turn. Next turn it dies. It's when you can't remove a counter is how fading works, not like vanishing. So what this is going to do for us is mean that we've got another turn so we can actually Funeral Pyre this away when they try and welder it. That's the hope anyway. Now if they fire off a Tinker here, that gets a little bit sketchy. How many Seal of Cleansers do we mill over both of them? So if they've got some graveyard hate. We know they've got Phyrexian Furnace because it asked us what order we wanted to put these in the graveyard. And that's a pretty stock card for these decks to have. A Tinker, sure. So they've sacrificed the Tangle Wire, so now they can bring it back. And we don't quite have enough mana. Phyrexian Devourer. Okay. You can do this. We have a Gaia's Blessing in our deck. We just let it go. Interesting. So they misclicked. I don't think it matters here. So I don't want to tell them that it doesn't matter because they might still play into our Gaia's Blessing. They can bring that back if they want to. They've got Welder. Alright, they just realised that we have a Gaia's Blessing as well. Alright, they're cracking the Mind Stone using their leftover mana. Are they going to Welder and put this Tangle Wire back in? I would rather you didn't, opponent, because it's a bit sad for us. I think they need to pick up the pace of play a little bit because they are quite far behind on clock and these games are going to go a while. Right, City of Traitors losing their other City of Traitors. Do they actually anything interesting? No. Smokestack and Thran Dynamo. 3-drop here. Another bridge would be annoying. Sphere is kind of annoying. But they are underneath their own Winter Orb here. Now they can take out this Winter Orb for their turn. So during our turn they can get rid of the Winter Orb. So they get a full untap. I will untap this Plains, I guess. Do I want a Plains or do I want a Mox Diamond here? If we're playing around Mishra's Helix, we probably want the Mox Diamond. They might have Powder Keg though. So it becomes a little sketchy on that front. Our spells cost so much mana here. Yeah, so we have to play the Plains out so that we can actually cast a Funeral Pyre. So they probably swap the Winter Orb out for the Devourer. Or the Mind Stone. Mind Stone makes a lot of sense too. It gives us a window. I guess if they do that, then they probably want to put the Winter Orb again, so we can maybe wait for them to tap this and then fire off our Funeral Pyre. But if we do it while our opponent's creature is tapped, that probably ends up best for us. So they're going to get a full untap here. So we can guaranteed get rid of this Winter Orb. Or we can hold up to get rid of the Winter Orb. If our opponent plays another Sphere of Resistance, we're in trouble. They've got one card in hand. I think we're just going to take this Winter Orb out now before their Welder untaps. I really don't want to get locked under a Winter Orb. If we untap with all of our lands, I think we are odds on to win the game. Right, you can have a 1-1. That will get us another Phantom Nishoba. They might just be able to tinker for another Winter Orb. But their life total is pretty low. Yeah, so we do give them a 1-1 which can beat down. But in theory, we should be able to overcome that. Because we can stop our opponent having lands. They won't be able to empty their hand for ensnaring bridge purposes because they're underneath double sphere. We can always make that triple sphere. And then they really won't be able to do anything. As long as we keep drawing lands, we can keep dust bowling them. Oh, they had a Winter Orb. Ah, okay. Ah, we're back in this nonsense game again. So now they can beat us down. But we get to shuffle these Seal of Cleansings back into our deck, which is something. And we do actually get to untap a land. We're not under Tangle Wire plus Winter Orb. Well, not yet anyway. Take this Rishadan Port. Okay, they're getting rid of our Mox Diamond for another Mox Diamond. That is an annoying thing they can do with their Welder, but if they're doing that instead of getting back Tangle Wires, I can live with that. So yes, we're going to mill over a bunch of stuff. We didn't find the other Gaia's Blessing. I guess we're about to draw it then. We didn't draw it, okay. So we can play this Forest. Are we Rishadan Porting our opponent? I don't believe we are. They don't have a lot of cards in hand. They do have a Welder though. And that's kind of a bit of a miserable one for us. But if they put a Tangle Wire in during their turn, we tap down all of our permanents anyway, so we may as well tap down one of their lands. Yep, we take one from the Spirit. Are we Weldering? Alright. They're doing the bounce trick with the City of Traitors, Croesus Catacombs. I really enjoy this trick quite a lot. I've even played it in Legacy, in fact. And it felt pretty good, to be honest. So what are they doing with their heaps of mana over there? Are we tinkering? Sarbo's Web. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. If you get one use of our Rishadan Port, is what you're telling me. Are you going to Welder in? So they can use this as a draw engine and just keep Weldering this backwards and forwards. But do you want to get Tangle Wire? Tangle Wire is very one-sided because they can just tap a bunch of these things. So getting back a Tangle Wire over the Sarbo's Web here. So we're going to have to tap 4 permanents on our turn, which is going to be all of our permanents, which is not really what I wanted here. Guess we tap down this Ancient Tomb. All our stuff's getting tapped down anyway. A Wasteland. Oh, we're playing it out here. I don't think it's... I think we might actually just deck out here. We deck out before they kill us with this. Yeah, I think our opponent can just keep us locked enough here. We're just going to go to the sideboard. I think we've got some good tools for this matchup. Like, we've just got a boatload of like Aura of Silence type stuff here. So Aura of Silence looks good. Naturalizes look good. If we're really interested in trying to deal with Welder, we can do it within Tormod's Crypts. So these are all options. So these things are stuff I'm interested in. I don't think we want Sphere Resistance against our opponent's Sphere Resistance deck. Although there are definitely windows where maybe we get to use this. But I think these things are just going to be better. So this is currently what we're looking at here. Would I rather have Funeral Pyres or Tormod's Crypt? I think the Funeral Pyre is probably better still. We do want these so we can hit Khan and we can hit the Welders. Sure, I think this is good enough. So we could have Sacred Ground to stop Wasteland on us, but I don't think that's good enough. That's more for things like Armageddon. I've also just realised that our deck didn't load the other sideboard cards I wanted. We only have 13 sideboard cards. Whoops. Okay, there must have been a text error in the folder that in the text file that I did it via. Sure, we'll keep this one. Let's get Mox Diamond in. What are we choosing here? I think it's... is it Factory that goes, or is it Wasteland? I think it's the Wasteland. We can pressure our opponent with a Factory. Just get this Oath of Druids in now. This makes Welder, as a turn 1 play, very poor for our opponent. And we'll play out this Tormod's Crypt while we're here. Makes Welder even worse. We're a little bit all in on this Oath of Druids, but it is the most powerful thing that our deck does, because it's one of the most powerful things you can do in the format. That's an Ancient Tomb, Sphere, Mindstone, sure. I don't think this is where we're pointing our Naturalize. I think we are passing or attacking for 2. Are we attacking for 2 here? Just pressure our opponent's life total. We could also... I don't think we have a chance to put this on because this trigger doesn't work the way we want it to, right? Okay, let's just animate and get in for some damages. Our opponent's got an Ancient Tomb. We can pressure that on their life total. Rishadan Port. A Sphere of Resistance. So glad we didn't hold this up because it wouldn't have worked. So they're going to port down our Mishra's Factory. So we can't put the Oath of Druids trigger on the stack. So we can't let our opponent put it on and then animate this. Sure, Factory's tapped. A Rishadan Port of our very own. We could play this, or we could pay to get our Mox Diamond in. I think it's better just to play the port. A little bit of a tricky one here. So in our upkeep, we can fire off a Naturalize if they don't have more prison pieces. Don't be a Winter Orb. Okay, 3 mana. This could be a Winter Orb. 4 mana. So this is a 3-drop. So it could be Ensnaring Bridge. Tangle Wire, you say. So we're going to have to tap our stuff anyway. I have a Naturalize here. Do we hit the Tangle Wire or do we hit the Sphere? I think we hit the Sphere. Tangle Wire is going to tap down most of their stuff anyway. I think it's just easier to get out from underneath if there's no Sphere here. Yep, so we're going to tap our Tormod's Crypt. And we have found a Mishra's Factory. I'll play this one. Which gives us the ability to attack our opponent more. Gives us more stuff to tap down to a Tangle Wire. We could have played the Mox Diamond, but Powder Keg is a little sketchy. I'm not really in love with the Mox Diamond. Now they obviously fix our mana, which is going to be really important. It's just at the moment it feels like a bit of a liability in the world of spheres and whatnot. It's going to tap down the Tangle Wire. Looks like they're tapping down the Rishadan Port and the Mind Stone as well. So it's going to give them enough mana to cast like a Tinker here. They could Tinker for Winter Orb and just keep us in the dirt for a while, but they're also going to be in the dirt. But their deck is kind of designed to play there. Yeah, so we're doing a little bit of the prison stuff with our deck, but our opponent goes way harder into it, and that's going to be a problem for us. Another Ancient Tomb, that is a lot of life our opponent's going to be losing here. And they're paying with a Shivan Reef. Here comes a Tinker, tinkering away the Mind Stone. Is this Winter Orb? Our Mox Diamond untaps, but they didn't really need to do that. Okay, Sabo's Web, so these things don't untap. Cool. Not particularly cool, but, you know, it's the world we're living in. Wow, I really hate this. Okay. Mishra's Factory. I guess we're playing out this Mox Diamond instead. Good old Sabo's Web, eh? So they're tapping 2, so they're going to tap the web and the tangle wire, so it's entirely one-sided. Although their Rishadan Port is also locked down by the sideways web, so it's not doing nothing to them. It is doing a little bit of something, and all the lands they have are quite painful. So there will come a point where casting spells will hurt our opponent. They need to get down something like a welder that can just keep this lot going until they find something else. City of Traitors, that's a pretty good mana source for them. There is the Ensnaring Bridge. That is a problem that we can deal with at some point. Tap down the Crypt and the Diamond. Kor Haven. This does not particularly enjoy the sideways web here, but I do think we play it out still, because we do get mana off of it, because next turn the Tangle Wire is just tapping our Tormod's Crypt. So we have 3 mana, so even through a Sphere we might be able to cast a Naturalize or a Seal of Cleansing if we find it. And if they don't have a Sphere, then we might be able to cast an Aura of Silence that we draw. So we're just giving ourselves the most amount of options. Oh look, a Tangle Wire. I guess our Kor Haven's staying tapped forever. So next turn they can tap 1, 2, 3 permanents. That's not a problem. Welder. Okay. This is a little bit of a problem for us. Our opponent's down to 6 life though. So we need to tap 4 things. So we are tapping all of our things. Actually, we're tapping 5 things here. Do I pop this Tormod's Crypt? I don't think I do, because we don't care about these things as much as we care about Tangle Wire. Blessing, shuffle us back in. We've got a Nishoba, but it's just so hard getting out from underneath this Tangle Wire, especially with this sideways web. Okay, Forest. That's not a bad land to have. So they tick down both Tangle Wires first. They tap both Tangle Wires and 1 other permanent, because the other Tangle Wire with no counters on sticks around for another turn, so they can tap it for free to the other one. So one of the web or the bridge gets tapped here. So we tapped 3 permanents. So we probably just have to leave up our Tormod's Crypt so that they can't welder back a Tangle Wire. Not really in love with that, but if they've got a Tinker this turn, then we're just kind of locked out, and I think that's game over. We've got this tiny little window where we might be able to do something. If they tinker out the Tangle Wire for something, they can then bring it back with the welder, and then we're just going to have everything taken from us. All right, so they've welded out the Tangle Wire, so we can hit this with our Tormod's Crypt now. The illusion of choice. There is another Tangle Wire. So this Tormod's Crypt, not looking so hot anymore. I can crypt away this Tangle Wire, but they already have a Tangle Wire. I think we need to try and just draw into a Swords to Plowshares. So we're very close to losing here. Now we could try and time our opponent out, but I'm not going to play like that. Sideways Web makes me not want to play this one out, but we can hold it in our hand to help pay for stuff later on. Sure. So was this 5 permanents? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they still get to keep all their mana here. That's pretty good. Like they lose a Mind Stone. And they can reset the Tangle Wire on 2 to be a Tangle Wire on 4. So we'd never really get out from underneath that. We just needed to find Swords to Plowshares. If we can get rid of the welder, they're not going to be able to recycle this stuff anymore. So resistance. I think that locks us out enough now. I think I'm happy conceding this one. We got prisoned. Alright, I've added the 2 missing cards from my sideboard. I'm going to put in a couple of Xantid Swarm. They can help us versus the control decks. Let's go into round number 3. Alright, we've got Library and Oath of Druids. Not bad. I will keep this. I'm starting to get a little bit worried about the Mox Diamonds in this list. How many lands are we even running? 31 lands. Okay, it shouldn't be a problem to have these Mox Diamonds, and that's a respectable amount of lands to go with Mox Diamond. So, do we want to play out our turn 1 Library or a turn 1 Oath? I think turn 1 Library ends up being better for us, and they're more likely to play a creature on board if we don't play Oath, which means we can just play this and get a free win. Okay, so what land are we getting rid of here? Let's see if our Mox Diamond resolves. If our opponent wants to pitch a foil, that'd be kind of wild. I think I'm going to pitch the Treetop, weirdly. I quite like having a basic land here. We are losing this for the Sylvan Library. We could have played the Wasteland out, actually. That would have been a little bit cleaner. Let's play the Library. Yeah, if we'd have played the Wasteland out there, then we could have had the shuffle effect for the Library in a second. Now, of course, we do have Oath of Druids, which is a shuffle effect in and of itself. Swamp into, is it a 1-drop or is it a Dark Ritual? Into multiple 1-drops. Cabal Therapy. Are they going to name Oath of Druids or Survivor of the Fittest? It's probably Survivor of the Fittest here. And now I wish we'd have got rid of the Wasteland instead of Treetop. They named Nimble Mongoose. Cool. Let's use our library. Sure. I will pay 4 life to keep this in hand, and I'll put this on top of our library. We'll play Oath of Druids. And then we'll play our tapped Treetop Village. And if our opponent plays a creature, we can shuffle those cards off the top. It's just nice to get some additional cards. And we're not worried about creature pressure because of the Oath of Druids. Now we can just start using our Treetop Village to get where we need to go. Funeral Pyre. Okay, that's very good. We don't need this. This can go on top of our library. This can go on top of the library. That's Kor Haven. I'm not going to just activate our Treetop Village into a very obvious smother over there. In our opponent's end step, we can just Funeral Pyre this, get Phantom Nishoba, and then win the game. If they play a creature out, we can always just hit this in response anyway. Not that we care if they take our Sylvan Library. Rotlung Reanimator. It's a guy. Okay, we don't even need to Funeral Pyre now. We just get our Phantom Nishoba for free. Put this on top. And then put this on top. Play out the factory. I can swing with this. They just get a 2/2 zombie if they block. So we end up still being fine on that front. We can always Funeral Pyre for another creature. Our opponent is in a bad way over there. Then we're just going to Funeral Pyre and make sure we get another guy. I would love to have a second Phantom Nishoba, thank you. And them getting creatures back doesn't feel great, because what creature they're going to get, they're going to be half as good as what we're doing. Okay, we'll put these two on top. We can use the Windswept Heath to shuffle now. They can get an Oath Trigger if they want, but most of the deck is just going to be filled with mediocre clerics. Sure, so we're going to trample over a bunch here. They get their 2/2 zombie. So the best creature in the deck is a Sign of Darkness, which is a 6/6 trampler for like 8 mana. A Withered Wretch. That's kind of interesting because we are trying to loop our graveyard in. So we need to be aware of that. But the trigger from the Gaia's Blessing will go on, and they can remove some cards, but it'll still get shuffled all in. Contamination. Mox Diamond gets around that quite nicely. We'll shuffle here. We're just going to get planes. It's just going to tap for black underneath our opponent's Contamination, but that's not really an issue for us. Yes, I would like to Sylvan Library. Swords to Plowshares. I don't hate that one at all. This can go on top. This is lethal. If we fire this one up, we can also activate this one. Attack for a bunch. This is 16 trample damage, plus another 2 damage. It's 18, they can block 4. That puts them to dead. Got a spell over there. Smother on the Treetop Village. Sure. So they survive this, but they lose their guys, right? They go to 2, we gain a bunch of life. We've got a Swords to Plowshares for the next creature they play, if we need to even do that. This Oath of Druids on the stack. Are they going to sacrifice this creature to Contamination and die to our board? Probably not. Graveborn Muse. We can just Swords to Plowshares it using our Mox Diamond next turn. We could have floated mana if we wanted to. Alright, they've conceded from the game, as expected, because we're doing naughty things. So, we have some cards I'm interested in. The Naturalizes, the Wraths. These are interesting to me. Possibly Ray of Revelation as well. I don't think we need to go fully into Aura of Silence, though. So, potentially 5 cards I'm interested in. I don't think this is really a super resistant matchup, and I don't think we need these Funeral Pyres either. We can get the ball rolling with them, and that's fine. But I think this is just going to be a better spread. I like the Mox Diamond because it allows us to play through a Contamination. So I will keep this one. We can deal with Phyrexian Arena and Contamination with this hand quite easily. I don't know if they're going to bring in Powder Kegs just to blow up our Mox Diamond. It's possible, but that seems pretty bad when they're trying to make a bunch of tokens. But maybe these are just the things you have to do when you're playing a mono black deck. How else are they going to get through something like an Ensnaring Bridge? So they might have that in their sideboard. I guess Contamination can sometimes get through an Ensnaring Bridge, because if you make it so your opponent can't cast the cards in their hand, because their mana doesn't tap the right colours, eventually They'll have enough cards in hand you can attack with all your 2/2s. Alright, so they're probably going to take the Mox. It's either the Mox or the Wrath. Because we have double up of these, so we'll see what they go for. They took the Mox. Ray of Revelation. I will deploy a basic forest. So we can't quite get the Seal of Cleansing down yet. Losing the Mox Diamond is also our white source. I did mention earlier that's part of the fixing that our deck requires. Mishra's Factory. Swords to Plowshares. I'll deploy a Wasteland. This gives us the ability to naturalize something if we need to. If they just attack with the Mishra's Factory, I don't really care. Sure, we can just Wasteland this. I doubt we're going to need to naturalize something that they can play with 1 mana. And if they play Dark Ritual into like a Phyrexian Arena, we can do that on our turn. If they play a Contamination, they won't have creatures for it, so it's not going to work either. We don't have many targets for our Wastelands, so being able to find one like this is pretty good. Another Duress, perhaps? Cabal Therapy. Our hand is relatively resistant. We got 2 pieces of removal. We got 3 ways of destroying enchantments. I named Seal of Cleansing, because that's one that we can stick down, and then if they play the Contamination, it can just be there to blow it up. Now, the thing about that is that we have Naturalize and Rare Revelation here, but we don't have any white mana. We can just hold this up. Is this a turn we play out the Oath of Druids? I don't think it is, although it's very hard for them to beat Oath of Druids. Do we just slam the Oath of Druids here? Because they would need to have a Dark Ritual. I think they would have used that earlier. Yeah, we're just going to slam this before they can take it out of our hand. We are shields down on a Naturalize for 1 turn, but once it's in play, I guess Dystopia is a card they have, potentially. We don't really get an opportunity to blow this up, to blow up the Dystopia. Okay, so now we do, because we can just untap and have this Naturalize. I'll play this Wasteland and pass a turn. There's a Swamp. A Rot Lung Reanimator. You've got it, opponent. Cabal Therapy. Sure. What would you like to name here? I named Naturalize. Sure. Would love to have access to a white mana source, please. Taking our Mox Diamond has definitely changed the texture of this game a lot. So we get our little friend here. Milled over a few things. We'll leave our graveyard popped out here. Another Oath of Druids. I don't really want that one. I think we just Wasteland this now before they untap. To have less mana, it's going to be harder for them to do like Contamination things. Vendetta. So they're going to pay a boatload of life for that. Sure. We do have more where that came from, though. If they go like Dark Ritual, Haunting Echoes, then in the bin we go. Name Rare Revelation, maybe? And then Tormod's Crypt. Could name Wrath of God here. We don't really have white anytime soon, though. They named Rare Revelation. So they put this into our graveyard in a zone we can cast it. So they must have something to deal with our graveyard. How much graveyard hate do they have beyond the Withered Wretch, though? They might just be using this as a way of getting the zombie token to be dead, but then where is the pressure coming from? Sure, so what they're going to name now. Swords to Plowshares. Sure. I'll play a Treetop Village, so we have pressure if we want it, but I just kind of want to sit behind this Rare Revelation for a bit. If we draw a land next turn, possibly a white source, that'd be interesting. Although I guess if we draw a white source, we can't hold up Rare Revelation, so we actually need another green source. Maybe we should be playing more Brushlands in our deck. A Wasteland. I don't know if I want to attack with this Treetop Village right now. Maybe that's really cowardly. I've got 1 card in hand. What are they not going to deploy here? It's either Contamination, which means we should be holding up a green source, or it's Smother, which means we shouldn't be attacking with our Treetop Village anyway. So either of the options our opponent has in their hand are ones that we shouldn't be attacking into. A Sylvan Library. Yes, please. Pretty big news. Certainly one of the better top decks we had available. Right, let's get our library going. Another library is not really the one, but we can put it back. I'll put on top of library. I will pay for life, I think. And deploy this forest. Now we can animate this because we can still keep up our Rare Revelation here. But if they have the Smother, they have the Smother, but this is just a 50-50 chance. Whereas when we had a choice of animating or holding up Ray, it ends up in a situation where either of the two things they would keep in their hand are bad. So I'm pretty sure our opponent has Contamination in hand. Also, we're paying more life last turn means we get to see more cards this turn, and maybe we could hit that illustrious white source that we've been looking for. And there it is. On top. On top. Play this one out. Send in the lad. We get to shuffle away our top cards as well. Go and give them a creature. 4 black mana. Is this Skeletal Scrying? Feels like Skeletal Scrying. There it is. Our opponent's not quite dead on board. They've got a lot of resources to work with though. Ancient Tomb. That is certainly not a good one to tap. Just go and get our basic planes. Fire off a Funeral Pyre. This will trigger our Oath. Vendettering their own creature. That puts them dead to my Treetop Village. They have to have an answer for Treetop Village here. These are pretty bad. Right, let's activate this. You've got Smother for us. They do indeed. So we've got Ray of Revelation and Naturalize. We can only cast either or, not both. A Dust Bowl is fine here. I don't want to play out this other Oath of Druids. There's not really need. A Withered Wretch. That's pretty good. That can get rid of this Ray of Revelation. Tapping the Ancient Tomb. A bold play indeed. Getting rid of the Ray. I'm going to see a Contamination here. A Dystopia. So we can sack one thing and then it goes away because they don't have any life. Sure. I'll sacrifice this Oath of Druids. We still get the trigger. 2 Gaia's Blessing triggers. They can take one thing out of our deck if they don't like it here. Another Oath. We don't really need this in the show. We can just hardcast it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We could hardcast it, but we obviously need to keep the Naturalize open. Alright, our opponent's just conceding. This matchup feels horrible for our opponents. On to round 4. Double Phantom Nishoba is already a pretty big mulligan here. I think we're just going to take the mulligan here. Don't get rid of my Mox Diamond, please, I guess. I guess we throw back the Dust Bowl. Alright, if they duress us and take our Mox Diamond, this game could be very difficult. Wooded Foothills. A mountain. A Grim Lavamancer. Do I think the Port is better than a Wasteland? I don't know. I think it probably is. We can maybe keep them off of a ball lining at some point. So Nishoba is going to do a lot of work here. So they might be in a situation where they want to kill their own Lavamancer. And just try and win using burn spells. Which is a pretty viable tactic versus Oath. They tend to be slightly slower decks because they have the Oath to slow the game down. However, okay, so they do have the ability to kill the Grim Lavamancer. I was going to say, however, we have the ability to give them a creature, which they might not expect. Poor Grim Lavamancer. Oh no, just shooting us. Oh, okay, I thought they were going to... Okay, they're doing it this way instead. I guess if you expect the Mog Fanatic to not do as much, then you end up with +1 damage doing it that way. We drew a mana source. So we're going to use this Rishadan Port on a slightly unconventional timing. We're going to use it in our opponent's second main phase. Cursed Scroll, sure. I don't want to do this now in case they shock this creature, because then how are we getting back into the game there? Okay. If they fired off a spell, then we could just get it. Like, as soon as we get one Phantom Nishoba in play, I think we're fine. That is the game plan. A Kor Haven. It's not really the one we wanted. We've got 3 cards in hand. Are you going to be doing Curse Scroll stuff here? Again, we're going to try and tap out the end step so we can just get a Nishoba in play. Seal of Fire. Oh, that's really frustrating for us. That stops this plan entirely. Activating the Curse Scroll, but we can't deal with the Seal of Fire. Revealed a Grim Lavamancer. So I think we are doing Seal of Cleansing stuff. And now we're going to upkeep port them. Front of the Curse Scroll. They just have 2 Grim Lavamancers in hand. I guess they do. Another Oath of Druids, not really the one we want there. Okay, we can tap them out of Curse Scrolling potentially. A Grim Lavamancer. A Jackal Pup. Curious. Tap this down. Lightning bolt my face. Sure. Tap them down. Okay, so we're going to get an Oath trigger now. Which is kind of what we've been working towards this entire game. The Gaia's Blessings will shuffle us in. Play this Curse Scroll. Deploy another Seal of Cleansing. We only deal 1 damage to the Jackal Pup on attacks, but on blocks we deal 7 to it. So they're probably not attacking with the Jackal Pup. I'm not sure if they needed to play stuff out there, really. Triggering our Oath made our life a lot easier. We didn't have to sort of finagle our situation where we could Funeral Pyre. Right, I managed to win the game. I did say as soon as we get a Phantom Nishoba in play, we probably win the game. So, things that are of use to us in this matchup. Possibly, I don't think we need Decrees of Justice. I don't really think we need the Rays of Revelation here, but we'll see. Sphere of Resistance is an interesting one. Our opponent's deck is relatively low to the ground, so it's going to double the cost of their spells. We're probably not paying a lot of life for Sylvan Library, but being able to dig into specific cards is pretty good. We're probably going to board out a lot of creatures here. I think this gets us the Naturalizes and the Ray. I don't think we get to board these in. So we need to deal with Sulfuric Vortex to make sure our life game works. I think this is enough. We can prevent damage using the Kor Haven on attacking creatures. This hand is no good. Weird hand. Weird hand. I think we keep this and bin off the Nishoba. There's a lot of ways that I don't like how this can go for us. We can sphere early doors. Okay, let's play a Mox Diamond. I think we pitched a Dust Bowl because they're not going to have many targets for it. Let's get this Kor Haven in and sphere up. It should double the cost of their spells. It does make our spells more expensive as well. Take 1 from the Fanatic. If they don't have another land here, and we just drop another sphere, the game gets weird. I'd like to draw a land ourselves if we're doing that. Excellent. 1, 2, 3. Let's have a second sphere. And then the Mishra's Factory can hold the fort against the Mog Fanatic. Or we can just start attacking with it and just have more damage on the race. Although, no, yeah, they can't block and ping because this dies. So we have the Superior Clock. Now our opponent's hand is just full of gas over there. We need to make sure they never get to cast it though. A Mishra's Factory. That's the newly controlled one, so I'll tap that for 1 mana. This is the non-newly controlled one. I messed this one up. I was supposed to pump it for an extra point damage. Hopefully that 1 damage won't cost us the game. Right, opponent's got second land, so they're getting close to being able to cast a spell. I'll play a Windswept Heath. I will animate this. I will animate this one as well. I don't really want to use the Windswept Heath until we have like a... I guess we've boarded out our libraries, haven't we? Is that true? I think we boarded them out. Yeah. We don't really want to pay the life, so it's just like filtering. We also don't know what colour source we want to grab with this one. They find a land here, they can play a spell. They did not find a land. Are you attacking? If you're not blocking, you should be attacking. Alright, they've conceded. Okay, was that round 4, I think, wasn't it? So we play against 2 black decks, a prison deck, and a red deck. Alright, so 1 more round to go. We've only lost to the prison deck, I think, so far. Turn 2, Oath of Druids, pretty good. I'll keep this. I think, just to be extra super safe, I'm going to lead off on planes. We can't get Wasteland that way. If our opponent's playing a Reanimator deck or something, we can source the Plowshares if they make a turn 1 guy. Okay, that doesn't seem to be what's happening here. A Sylvan Library. I think we're going to cast a library here rather than the Oath. Right, we're just in with that. That's good news. I don't know what flavour of blue deck this is going to be. My brain immediately goes to Dreadnought. Okay, it's Blue-Green Madness most likely. Alright, let's have a little looky with our library. Okay, we'll put that on top and then put this on top. I guess we should play around days, but I kind of want to get this in as well. I'm probably just going to have a mana leak here anyway. Alright, let's just try this Oath. I suspect they mana leak this. There it is. And then we just keep playing Oaths until our opponent has had enough of us. Over my coast, we're going to see a Wild Mongrel put on top, and I'll pay 4 life for this. I will deploy this Wasteland. Well, I guess we don't know if we're They'd have to pitch multiple cards. I guess we just play the Windswept Heath out. And then we play this Oath of Druids. They're pitching the Squee, and then they're probably going to pitch a Circular Logic here. Alright, they're going pretty hard on this Wild Mongrel. You got it. You'll never guess what's on top of our library. We don't believe our opponent has a Daze either. I think we should plow this now. Okay. Sure, we could try and get some more value, get them to pitch more cards, or we could hold it for something else, or we could just let them have it because we're trying to play another Oath. There's a lot of options available to us, but we already have a way of triggering the Oath in this Funeral Pyre. Phantom Nishoba put on top. Mishra's Factory. I kind of want you in my hand. Yeah, I'll pay for life. Just take out the Yavimaya Coast. They didn't float any mana. Okay. Get this in. Triple Oath of Druids. Into this Wall of Roots. And then I'll get my Oath trigger. And this probably ends up being game here. Mana's deck is pretty poor at dealing with stuff on board unless they have the Waterfront Bouncer. This can go on top. And then this can go on top. And we will play out this factory. Get this sphere down. Crack this for forest. Animate the apes. One of my criticisms of Treetop Village is the art doesn't have as much monkey focus as it does the actual buildings focus. Sure. So we're going to get some damage in here. This means our opponent gets a Oath trigger. But do we care about our opponent getting an Oath trigger when we have a 7/7 trample lifelink? Probably not. Like the biggest creature in the deck is Arrogant Worm. That's a 4/4 trampler. Now they might have something weird that I've not seen before in their list. It's a Squee. Just a Squee. Yes, I would like to use my Sylvan Library. I'll put this back and this back. I'll play this. I will crack this. We can get planes this time around. We can go 1, 2, 3. Get a second Sphere of Resistance in. No spells for you, opponent. Let's attack you for 10 trample. This is going to give us a nice big hit of life here to recover from all this Sylvan Library we've been doing, which also means we can do more Sylvan Librarying. We lose a counter on the Nishoba, but I don't think we care about that when we're this far ahead. We get off the Oath. Spin the wheel. It's a 1/1. I do like Merfolk loot today. We will use a library. We're going to put this on top and this on top. Play this out. We can animate our friend here. We can animate our other friend. We can attack for a bunch. Which is 11. So they're going to take 5 here. They're going to shrink our Phantom Nishoba. Which does mean we could be looking at an Arrogant Worm, which can actually block relatively well. We can also use the Seal of Cleansings in our deck to blow up Oath of Druids. Alright, anything interesting in there? Stifle. Alright, they've had enough of us. Don't blame me, their opponent. So, some sort of madnessy type stuff here. So, Xantid Swarm allows us to get our counters through. Decree of Justice is something we can do underneath our spheres and stuff. Then we have a Wraths to kill their guys. We've got Aura of Silence, Rare Revelation, and Naturalize, which can hit survival. So we have a bunch of stuff I'm interested in. Do I think we need to be doing Funeral Pyre stuff in this matchup? I don't think we do. So our opponent can't win without creatures. So they can just come out and we can just get some better stuff in. How much do I like the Sphere of Resistance? It does really mess with some of their breakpoints of cards that they have. So I think it's worth keeping these around. Are we going down on Mox Diamonds? Do we need to like ramp this out turn 1? Or can we just play a game where we have higher quality draws? So maybe we don't need an Aura of Silence. How many of these effects do we realistically need? We've got 2 in the main deck. I think we do want a decent number here. Maybe we can take out 1 Nishoba. And that gets us a Ray. So we've got 3 of those effects to deal with. Their survival. Do we want Tormod's Crypt to deal with Squee specifically? Maybe that's better than doing this Decree of Justice stuff. Alright, we'll try this. We might have just made our deck worse, to be honest. But we're experimenting. Oath of Druids, Sphere Resistance. These are good Magic the Gathering cards. Treetop Village, tapped, go. Forest. Survival of the fittest. You've got it. So they can go and get things that can blow up Oath of Druids. So what is the play here? It's probably Plains into Sphere. Hopefully we can Oath into Ray. Right, so they can just wipe our Treetop and that slows us down a bit. A Sylvan Library. Right, I will play this basic land to make sure that we can cast stuff through our own Sphere next turn. Alright, they're discarding a Squee. They found a Squee. Are they going to discard that Squee and find another one? No, they only have 2 Squees maybe. An Oath of Druids. I guess we're just going to draw one of the 3 Oath of Druids we cast. If our opponent wants to trade 1 for 1 and we have redundant cards in hand, that's all good with me. Days. We can't pay for the days. Play the Wasteland out. Use the Wasteland on this Yavimaya Coast. You're going to float some blue mana? I'm going to float some green mana. Let's move along and see if they use it. Just putting it into the survival. Another Squee. An Uktabi Orangutan. That destroys an artifact. You can blow up the artifact, but we have the Oath. Kind of an interesting little game panning out here. Because our opponent will have the tools to blow up all of our things. Cutting them off blue is interesting. Waterfront Bouncer. They don't have Tranquil Domain. I don't think we have great options to play around Tranquil Domain. Let's play a Library. And we'll have a Treetop Village. Discarding a Squeeze. They got 3 Squeeze. There's a Gilded Drake. That's a pretty good one for taking our little friend away. We need to make it so they never have any blue mana. But the problem is they can sandbag the blue mana in their hand. But they have to play a creature out here. Okay, this is not a piece of blue mana we can interact with. I have to go clean up. Is it probably going to be Squeeze? Squeeze and a Wall of Roots. Sure. Say yes to the Sylvan Library. Sphere Resistance and Mishra's Factory. This can go on top, and I'll pay 4 life to keep this in my hand. So Sphere Resistance costs 3 mana. We can't activate this and play the Sphere. I'm still going to play this Sphere though. I'll play the Factory. And we just kind of sit here and see what happens. So they could start getting mana stuff, so they can play the mana stuff out underneath the Sphere. Yeah, so that's what they're doing with the Wall of Roots here. This will give us a Phantom Nishoba, but they've already shown that they want to take it using the Gilded Drake. But that's just one thing, but then they can go and get the Genesis and bring back their Gilded Drake after it dies. Okay. Bit of a weird game, this one. I think our opponent is favoured because Survival of the Fittest is a very messed up Magic the Gathering card. We can't really complain. We've got a pretty messed up one in play for us too. Our opponent's got 10 cards in hand, discarding triple Squeeze. So they're just thinning their deck out every turn here. This can go on top. This can go on top. Play on the Dust Bowl. We'll animate this guy. We will animate this guy. I wonder if we're about to get blown out by a... What's the little lizard called? Root Waller. It's the one. Nope, we're just getting 5 in. Right, I'll take that. They'll probably have the Nantuko something or other. It's a morph that you pay 2 and flip it up and it naturalizes when you morph it. Can never remember the name of that card. So they're playing a 1-drop here. Okay, they're playing an extra 1 for the Naturalize. Sure. But we just get to do our thing here. We could just play another Oath. It's going to cost 4 mana though. So this can go on top. And this can go on top for now. 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. So let's animate this. Attack for 3. Play another Oath. Like, if they're not committing to the board because we have an Oath, having an Oath feels like a good place to be, right? It's affecting the way our opponent's playing this game. We're doing some more Survival of the Fittest nonsense. Voldar. Oh, Vorash Shapeshifters. So they are like a full English breakfast style combo, whatever you want to call it. So this gives them some pretty strong combo routes. Okay. Maybe we need to hold open and source to Plowshares next turn. That's a 3 mana play. And we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. So if we draw a land, we can hold open Plow and crack for 5. So I have to tap fully out for this Shapeshifter. Or they're just playing a 2-drop here. Uktabi Orangutan. They're going to blow up one of our sphere of resistance. Sure. We get an Oath. We now get to use this. Am I going to keep both? I don't think we need to keep both, do we? We can play this one out. So if we attack for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think we have lethal here. So we go this and this to activate this guy. This gets activated by this. And then we source to Plowshares this. And then we have exactly lethal. Oh wait, no, the Phantom Nishoba doesn't attack this turn. Oh no, whoops. What have I done? Oh no, that's a huge punt. Okay, I think we might have just thrown the entire game there. Okay. So this Wasteland is pretty good for our opponent. They tapped it out down though. So this is going to be a Volrath Shapeshifter. So they have the win here, right? Because they just... Oh no, they just played a Mongrel. Oh no, sorry. This was... It just showed it as the thing. Yeah, so they have the Devourer combo and they kill us. Yikes. That was a bit of a punt. I'm not very happy with myself there. How do I feel about this sideboarding? Like, if they don't have the survival, we don't really care about their deck very much. So maybe we just want to have lots of answers to survival. Like Funeral Pyre just taking out Squeeze also feels pretty good. So maybe we don't want the Decree. Maybe we don't need these Swarms. Is 2 Nishoba enough? Probably. Yeah, we messed that game up. We should have held open our Swords to Plowshares. Although, no, we can't beat them with the Swords to Plowshares because they play their Volrath Shapeshifter and it's the Wild Mongrel. So they discard a card as a cost, so we don't get to interact with that. And then they can put as many counters on as they want and keep going off in response. And then to discard the card via the survival is a cost. So there's not actually a point we could have interacted. So it wasn't actually a punt. It was a mistake, if you know what I mean, but it didn't actually cost us the game. What are we doing here? I guess we could have tried to interact with their survival using our Ray of Revelation. That would have been the correct play there. I will keep this. Go, Gadget, Oath of Druids. Oh, they've mulliganed to 5. I will play a Forest and pass. We've seen they got Stifle, so there's an argument that we should have played the Windswept Heath. I'll play this Windswept Heath out. I'm not going to commit into a daze here. If we get an opportunity to fetch around Stifle, we will. Mishra's Factory. Let's play one of these factories out. Let's go for... I think it's the Oath. I think this is the Sylvan Library is actually the prize here. Oh, we're just in. Okay. A Wasteland. Goodbye, Mishra's Factory. But if you like the first Mishra's Factory, what about second Mishra's Factory? Alright, here comes the library. Yeah, so they also didn't care about the Oath that much. I missed the window to fetch there. But having fetch around library would have been nice. Perhaps Mishra's Factory. Guy's Blessing, and a Rishadan Port. Sure. Play a port here. So, Frantic Search is what we're worried about here. They've got Stifle. We don't care if they stifle this now. We've got so many lands. We've already got 2 green. Do you want 2 white? I think so. So, Frantic Search lets them put a 4/4 into play with the sort of discard and untap stage of that, so they can just flash in a guy. Naturalize. Sure. They don't really need to do anything because we haven't got the Oath of Druids actually achieving anything. But if we find one of our Funeral Pyres, we can set this up. Like, I'm not opposed to having these resources. The plows are going to be useful. Let's tap down one of their islands. This means that on their turn, sorry, on our turn, we can tap them out of blue if we want to do that and resolve something. A Dust Bowl. Sure. A weird one, this. Let's tap them out of one of these blue sources. Mishra's Factory is very good here. We've drawn them all. Well, we shuffled them back in though, so. Animate the factory. We're getting smashed up here. We can plow an Arrogant Worm if they put one in. Tap them off of blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can just play a Phantom Nishoba. I think we just want to activate this little guy though. Our opponent's definitely got like a bunch of creatures and possibly some counter spells in their hand. So if things stay as they are right now, it's probably fine for us. We've got the answer for the survival, which is the thing we're actually worried about. So we tap down the land in combat. Let's try and resolve a library, shall we? Oh, it's in. That's good. We are shields down on green mana, but it doesn't look like it's going to matter. So hopefully library should just run away with the game a little bit here. Another library, don't really want this. We don't need a third source of Plowshares either. Sphere in. I don't think the sphere looks very good here, to be honest. We've gone past that stage of the game. But maybe it makes it more difficult for our opponent to just fully fire off their combo in one turn. Our library. Do some work for us. No, not really what we're after. Activate the guy. Attack with the guy. I'll blow up one of these Yavimaya coasts. I'd rather hold up Naturalize and Plow than try and port them down. It's got a lot of land and we're just turning our guy sideways. No to both of these. So we hold the Dust Bowl until at least we've got the damage in, because then if they blow this up we can then fire at our opponents. So 1, 2, so we can lose a plains here to take out this Yavimaya coast. I don't think it's worth it, to be honest. Then we're just going to hold up as much interaction as we can and just hope that this little Mishra's factory will eventually win the game. At some point they might have to play a creature to block it, and then we get a Phantom Nishoba as well as a shuffle, which I wouldn't mind. They're going to clean up, they've got squeeze, they're going to keep coming back. Okay. These two can get out of town. So, see if we can bash in with this. I don't care about them picking up squee, they don't have a good outlet for it yet. And this can interact with their combo. What a bizarre game. I don't even think we want to trigger the Oath here. I wouldn't mind shuffling though. We don't need to shuffle this turn, because we've still got one mystery card on top of our library. Okay, I guess we did want to shuffle, as it turns out. Send in the clown. Is it time to naturalize? It is. If we sacrifice this to hit there, that takes us out of interaction. We just have to let this go, actually. Not the happiest with that. We really want to shuffle off this Funeral Pyre now, so... do we care about any of these? Not particularly. That's Funeral Pyre. So now we get to trigger our Oath. We got Stifle for this. Really wanted to shuffle. Obviously having a massive creature doesn't hurt either. Okay, at least we have some stuff that we're happy to put on top of our library. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can't actually cast our Nishoba from hand. We could lose the game on this Oath trigger as well. If the bottom card of our library is Gaia's Blessing and the card above it is Phantom Nishoba, I guess we can just cast the Blessing. Wall of Roots. Merfolk Looter. There's a lot of cards I can draw here. 11 cards left in library, eh? We'll put this back and put this back. Let's get more mana. We've got Ray and we've got other bits and pieces too. I think this is fine. The next Oath trigger will just shuffle our whole graveyard in. Merfolk Looter, I think they've got some squeeze to discard. There it goes. A Wasteland. Going after our port. I'll turn that into a Wasteland myself. A Gilded Drake. So this has to be in play for the exchange to work. So we can just source the Plowshares this. And they can counter. And then we can plow again. The way I think it does, exchange control of up to one target creature an opponent controls. So I don't think this works. Yeah. Because exchanges, you have to have both things. Volras Shapeshifter. That's just a guy, isn't it? Let's just plow this and not mess around. Because this card is spooky. Ooh, they got days. Can't pay for that. But we do have another piece of interaction here. So the Gaia's Blessing shuffles this all in. We're pretty low on clock though. We don't want this Gaia's Blessing. We don't want this Kor Haven. Good attacks. Sure, we trample over for a bit. And I will plow this creature, holding up Ray and Naturalize to deal with Survivor of the Fittest lines. Wild Mongrel. They got a lot of cards in hand. Another Wild Mongrel. Should I shuffle my library? I like all of these. I'm going to keep them all. Go attacks. If they kill our guy, pumping this to 3. Make it any bigger. 4. Any bigger. Place land 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is 8 and this is 2. So we didn't actually get to do this yet. We still have a 5/5. Our opponent's having to burn a load of cards here. Oh, we could take out one of the squeeze. Just give them another token, but I didn't really want to do that. Merfolk Looter, sure. Another Wild Mongrel. 4 cards in hand. Understood. We don't know what we're drawing, so there's no point shuffling our library in this turn. Spheres of Resistance, you say. Don't think about that just yet. Let's just attack with our Phantom Nishoba and see what our opponent wants to do here. Okay. You're going to discard enough cards to keep this alive, or...? No, they're not. Okay, we deal some damage. We pass the turn. Maybe our opponent blocks with like a Wall of Roots or something at some point and we just get to sneak through the final bits of damage. Survival of the Fittest. Okay. Let's Revelation this survival. Weird game. We don't have a lot of time left to try and win this one. Getting all the squeeze out. Waterfront Bouncer. Yeah, don't really like that guy very much. We could give ourselves a 1/1 attacker. I don't think that's what we're doing this turn, but that's something to keep an eye on. No, we don't want to use this yet either, do we? Oh, yes, we do actually, because we want to shuffle in. All right. Imagine if we'd have had the third Nishoba in our deck. That would have been useful. We got 1 minute and 20 seconds here. We don't want this. I will pay 4 life and keep this though. We'll go to attacks. Send in the Nishoba. You're going to pump your mongrel. They are. The mongrel still dies here though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Leave up Swords to Plowshares. We do need to get this game won. Oh, I forgot to play out my Mishra's Factory. That was real bad. We are very much under the gun here in terms of time. We're not going to do this library because it takes a few seconds off our clock to do it. On top, on top. Oh, 20 seconds. It's getting dicey. Activate this. Go attacks. Attack everything. I think we just plow the Wall of Roots. I don't know if they have enough. This is 10, 11, 12, 13. And they've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So they do have enough. But we can just plow this Wall of Roots. So if they don't have this, they have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we're coming at them for 13. So this should be deterministically lethal. I can't cast anything through the sphere. Plowing this gives them 0 life back as well. Really down to the wire, this one. So we're ready to click the Swords to Plowshares in as short a space of time as we can. If they block like this, they're currently taking 2, 3, they're taking a little bit. I think as soon as they've blocked, I'm just going to fire this Swords to Plowshares, then F6 through the rest of the turn. So I'm going to make their Wild Mongrel 6. Right, we can F6 through the rest of this turn. They can draw and discard a card, but they don't really have any mana. And they are underneath the sphere. Making us pay for the days. Oh, doing it again, are we? They don't have the mana for this, right? Foil! Oh no, we time out here. Oh. So, they don't have enough cards left to go to protect their mongrel at this point, so this is going to trample over. So we do have the win. Our opponent says we got it as well. Alright, so we do technically get that game. Like, if we time out and we're not anywhere near winning the game, that's a very different thing. We just lost that. Like, we technically timed out. We needed 1 more second to press F6 1 more time. And that was it. So, I'm pretty happy to say that we got 4-1 with his list. It felt fine, but it did feel like we were just playing the Oath of Druids game most of the time. Like, we're not really feeling like a lands deck. Like, we played another build before, and it was just... This is, like, the most powerful thing you put in any deck that it's in. So, it just becomes an Oath deck, right? And that's not the most interesting space. Now, we do have Wasteland, Port, you know, we've got the Mishra's Factory, the Treetop Village, the Dust Bowl, the Kor Haven. We are doing land stuff in this deck. But most of the time, it was just the Oath of Druids was doing the thing. The only thing we lost to today was the Mud Prison deck. That deck is a lot better than people think it is in my mind. It can just completely lock people out of the game. But if you make a single mistake with the Prison deck, you do just automatically lose. But I think that deck is really good, and it's certainly busted our chops. Now, there are definitely ways that we might have been able to get through that one, but it was a little bit tricky. Like, trying to rely on Oath and manlands is really bad against the Sarbo's Web Ensnaring Bridge plus no real guys in play sort of deck. But this deck felt fine. It still isn't scratching that itch that I have for playing lands. Like I used to play a lot of lands in Legacy a long time ago, like when Punishing Fire and before even Thespian Stage was a card. I used to play lands. And this doesn't really scratch the same itch that you get from that deck. But we're exploring the land space. I've got another lands deck that I'm looking at doing some stuff with that I'm working on. We're going to keep trying different bits and pieces. But I think we've played a bunch of different lands decks. So like the Seismic lands. I can't remember if we played the Upheaval lands on the channel, but I've played that in paper and I thought it was terrible. I've played Oath lands. This is obviously like Prison lands with Oath. There's a lot of different ways you can take it. And I hope you're enjoying this. And the donor that wanted to see this is pleased. If you would like to see a specific deck on the channel, please reach out via my Discord. Or you can contact me on Patreon and then we can sort it out. Every donation that really does help keep the channel alive. So thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and goodbye. If you'd like to support me in the channel, please check out my Patreon. It has a free guide to budget turbo depths as well as 3 tiers of support. A low cost one that enters you into my monthly raffle for a free donation deck on the channel. A mid-tier subscription that gives you access to my detailed turbo depths guide that is updated every month as well as regular articles. And lastly, the higher tier gives you all of the above as well as a monthly donation deck for my channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel this way, please check out the link in the description.